It was winter time and Christmas was approaching. I was 25 years old, and I was going to meet up with some of my friends who lived on the other side of the city. It was a 4-hour drive from my place, so I decided to take my own car instead of a local cab. It was my first time going alone on such a long drive, and I felt nervous but excited. At midday I packed my bags, threw them in the trunk, and went off to meet my friends. It was a cold day, but the roads were clear. I didn't see much traffic as it was the holidays and people would rather spend time with their families and friends indoors and stay off the roads now. I'm not the type of person to go straight to somewhere. I like to take my time. It was a cold day, but the roads were clear. I didn't see much traffic as it was the holidays and people would rather spend time with their families and friends indoors and stay off the roads now. I'm not the type of person to go straight to somewhere. I like to take my time. I'm a social media freak and I enjoy posting pictures pretty much all the time. So I found the journey an excellent excuse to post some extra pictures to the road I was taking. The place where my friends lived was even more magical, so I stopped a lot during my ride to take pictures. I was having a great time by myself. Well, that was until the weather suddenly changed. The heavy snow didn't stop. I decided that I would stop at the closest gas station I could find, but unfortunately, I couldn't find one for a while. An hour later I finally saw some light shining from the distance. It was a gas station. I pressed the accelerator, rushed to the station, parked my car, and went inside quickly. Just as I entered, a strong snowstorm started. The gas station had a little shop tucked away with some chairs to sit on. The guy at the counter was an ordinary fellow. He didn't really talk much. He only asked me where I was going in such harsh weather. After that, I bought some chips and drinks, and sat down in the furthest chair from him. It was night now. I sat hunched on my food, and scrolled through an Instagram. Then suddenly, the shop's door opened. I looked up and a very weird-looking man entered. He had long greasy hair and was wearing a long coat, and had a very grim expression. I saw him buy some cigarettes, and he sat down a few chairs away from me. He didn't look at me at all. At first I ignored him, but then he started smoking. Since the shop was small, and the smoke filled the air quickly, the shopkeeper told him to stop, but he didn't listen. He couldn't ask him to leave because of the storm, so he didn't say anything else. I, on the other hand, hated cigarettes. The weird guy was looking down, breathing very heavily as he smoked. It was as if he was breathing in my ears, so when he took out his 5th cigarette, I lost my temper and angrily told him to stop. He looked at me for a couple of minutes. His big eyes were red with anger, but then he smiled and stopped smoking. His smile was unnerving. I sat down again and distracted myself on my phone. Shortly afterwards, my friend called me asking why I hadn't reached their place yet, and I told him the whole story, and said the storm would soon be over and I shouldn't worry. When I hung up, I noticed the weird guy was staring at my phone with deep interest. I was afraid that he was thinking of stealing it, but to my relief, after some time he got up to leave at the door. He stopped, looked back, and screamed loudly before running away, scaring the crap out of me and the shopkeeper. He didn't return after that. At 10:30 p.m. the storm ended, and I immediately left after thanking the shopkeeper. I went into my car, started it, and drove off for some time. I drove in silence, but then I heard a noise. It sounded like heavy breathing. My heart rate shot up and my hands got all sweaty. As the breathing sounded so familiar, so close, I looked through my rearview mirror and screamed. The weird guy from the shop was sitting in my back seat smiling at me. I pressed the brakes very hard, got out of the car, and started running. I felt him running after me, yelling at the top of his lungs. The road was empty, and I felt hopeless, as I knew he was faster than me. I only looked back once to see him running like an unnatural being and holding a knife in his hand. I increased my pace, still wondering how on earth he got inside my car. I might have forgotten to lock the door when I first left to go to the gas station. But now it was too late for me to regret. My life was at risk because some psychopath was after me. Then I saw some headlights at a distance. I started waving my hands like a maniac, screaming for them to stop. They did, and it turned out to be my friend. He had come to pick me up, as he was worried since I was pretty late and thought something went wrong. I looked back, and I saw that guy was gone. I got inside my friend's car and told him everything. He called the cops, and they arrived shortly. After we all went to my car first and noticed some marks made by a knife in the back seat. The cops couldn't find the guy anywhere. After some investigation, they let us leave. I drove my car and my friend drove his car back to his place, and the cops never found the guy, and to this day I still wonder what would have happened if my friend didn't turn up.